Welcome to AI Podcast. I'm Evan, and today we're digging into a new survey from EMNLP 2025 called Creativity in LLM-based multi-agent systems.
I'm Maya. I read it too, and it's a neat map of how teams of AI agents try to be creative. Quick shout out to two of the authors, Yi-Cheng and Chen, from National Taiwan University.
Right. Big picture first. The survey says this is the first focused review on creativity in multi-agent setups. It lays out a simple workflow, looks at how proactive agents should be, groups the main creativity techniques, and then explains how people are evaluating all of this. The punchline is that multi-agent teams can widen the idea space, but our evaluation standards are messy, and bias in persona design is a real risk.
When they say creativity, they don't just mean something weird or random. It's novelty with value, new and useful, or at least new and meaningful.
Exactly. And the authors contrast multi-agent systems with single-agent prompting. A lone model tends to settle into familiar patterns. A team of agents can play different roles and push each other. Think of a writer's room. One agent drafts, another edits, and a third plays characters to test the dialogue.
The workflow they use is really approachable: planning, process, and decision-making. Planning is where goals and tasks get set. Process is the messy middle where ideas are produced and refined. Decision-making is where something gets picked as the final output.
And hovering over that workflow is a spectrum of agent proactivity. On one end, agents are reactive. They wait for instructions. On the other end, they set sub-goals, hand out tasks, and judge their own work.
The tricky part is that proactivity is not always good. The survey points to studies showing that if agents push too hard, users can feel crowded out, and the ideas can collapse into sameness. So you want a dial, not an on-off switch.
Nicely put. A dial. The authors suggest making that dial adaptive. Early ideation can tolerate more initiative from agents, while high-stakes or precision work needs humans to keep tighter control.
Let's walk through the 3 creativity techniques they highlight. First up, divergent exploration. That's the sticky notes phase. Many quick ideas, no judgment yet.
And multi-agent systems help because each agent can bring a different lens. One agent tries wild metaphors, another focuses on constraints, a third mines domain facts. You get breadth without forcing one model to be everything at once.
Then comes iterative refinement. That's the draft and review loop. They describe setups with a proposer, a reviewer, and an implementer, like writer, editor, and script supervisor cycling until the draft reads clean.
Those loops shine for coherence and quality, but they can over-tighten if you run too many rounds or starve the system of compute. The paper is candid about that trade-off.
The third technique is collaborative synthesis. Different roles stitch their perspectives into one artifact. I picture a conductor bringing in strings, then brass, then percussion until it feels like one song.
Great analogy. Synthesis is powerful for complex tasks, but it adds coordination overhead. Too many cooks can overwhelm a kitchen, and the survey calls that out.
A big lever across all of this is persona. The authors frame persona on a granularity spectrum. Coarse personas are just labels like data analyst or marketer. They give freedom but can be vague. Medium adds skills or tools, like an editor who knows story structure. Fine-grained personas include background, style, even personality traits. They're controllable but can get rigid or biased.
And how you build those personas matters. There are human-defined profiles that people write by hand. There are model-generated profiles where an LLM spins up the details at scale. And there are data-derived profiles grounded in real behavior, like using a researcher's publications to make a digital twin for a science team.
Each path trades quality for scale in different ways. Handcrafted is precise but slow. Model-generated is fast but uneven. Data-derived feels realistic but can inherit the biases of the source data.
Which takes us to evaluation. The survey groups evaluation into 3 pillars. First, objective metrics on the artifact. For text, you'll see measures of lexical diversity and repetition, and deeper embedding-based measures that look at semantic variety. For images, things like how close generated pictures are to real ones and how diverse they are.
Second, subjective judgments. Classic creativity rubrics like the Torrance tests show up, along with criteria like insightfulness and interestingness for storytelling. And in practice, people now use LLM as a judge. The model rates outputs with a rubric. Convenient, but you need to watch for the model's own biases bleeding into the scores.
Third, interaction measures through user studies. Tools like the Creative Support Index ask whether the system felt collaborative, engaging, and expressive. That captures whether the process actually helps people be creative, not just whether the output looks shiny.
Put together, those three pillars give a fuller picture, but the authors warn we still lack unified standards. Different papers measure different things on different tasks. They mention new benchmarks that aim to unify this space, but we're not there yet.
And there are bigger design questions. One is fairness. Because personas guide what ideas even show up, biased personas can filter out voices before brainstorming begins. Some new evaluations try to probe that, but they usually cover a narrow slice, like gender only, and miss the tangled way bias shows up in conversations.
Another is creative conflict. Debate between agents can spark great ideas, just like a good lab meeting. But current debate frameworks often work with small groups and no real rules for scaling or cooling down conflict. Without guardrails, debate turns into noise.
The paper's future directions are pragmatic. Tune proactivity like a mixing board. Build bias-aware persona tooling so teams can audit and adjust profiles. Create scalable protocols for debate and coalition forming, so disagreement stays productive, and push for unified interactive benchmarks that measure novelty, coherence, and actual usefulness together.
They also note clear limitations in the current literature. Most systems are tested in text and images in English, with Western-centric data sets. Broader ethics like consent, provenance, and environmental cost are touched only lightly, and many studies use small samples, which makes generalizing hard.
Still, the survey itself is helpful because it gives teams a shared language. If you say we're in the process phase with mid-level proactivity, doing iterative refinement with medium-grain personas, everyone knows what that means and what to measure.
Let's ground this with a simple example. Say a startup wants an AI team to brainstorm product taglines. They could start with high proactivity and divergent exploration, 3 agents with distinct tones tossing out options. Then dial proactivity down to run 2 refinement rounds with a copywriter persona, a brand guardian persona, and a tester persona. Finally, decision-making uses a lightweight judge plus a quick user survey to pick winners. That mirrors the workflow and the evaluation pillars.
And if they notice the taglines all sound the same, that's a signal to broaden personas or raise the exploration dial a notch. If users feel steamrolled, bring the dial back and let humans steer the edits.
So what's the one-line takeaway for busy listeners?
Multi-agent teams can boost creativity by dividing roles and coordinating their strengths. But the real craft is in setting the right level of initiative, choosing personas carefully, and evaluating with more than one lens.
Nicely put. If you treat proactivity and persona as adjustable knobs and you measure both the artifact and the experience, you get systems that help people make better things, not just different things.
That's our look at creativity in LLM-based multi-agent systems. Thanks for listening to AI Podcast.
If you enjoyed this, share it with a colleague over coffee. See you next time.